Welcome to your real estate market update for December 2024. Now, this year hasn't played out quite the way many expected. In fact, mortgage rates stayed higher longer than anticipated, and the home price drops that many potential buyers were hoping for, well, they just never happened. So, what does 2025 look like? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down the latest expert forecasts for both mortgage rates and home prices, and make sure you stick around until the end when I'm going to share with you the latest real estate news and trends right here in Frisco to help you make informed decisions as we head into the new year. Hi, this is Andrew with the Andrew Smith team, eXp Realty here in Frisco, Texas. And this has certainly not been the year many expected it to be. In fact, as mortgage rates stayed higher for longer, many thought that home prices had to fall because affordability became such a problem. And as many of you may know, if you've been looking out at homes or considering buying a home, prices haven't fallen. As a matter of fact, it looks as though nationally we are going to finish the year up about 5%. I'm not sure we're going to see quite that here in Frisco, and I'll go into that in just a couple of minutes. But 2024 was really the tale of two markets, and here's what I mean. If you look at the northern part of the United States or the Northeast, the areas that during the pandemic, a lot of people were moving out of. So you've got Chicago, New York, New Jersey, all of the areas along there. We are seeing a market there that's quite strong. As a matter of fact, inventory remains incredibly tight, and you're seeing more advanced price appreciation as a result. Whereas the southern half of the United States, the Sun Belt areas, if you like, that a lot of people were moving to, that includes markets like Phoenix, to a certain extent here in Dallas, and I'm going to explain that more in a minute as well. But Austin, Florida, markets like that, they are seeing inventory rise. Not all of it due to the fact that people aren't moving in anymore, but you've got other factors, the natural disasters, increasing costs for homeowners insurance, things like that that have put pressure on those markets. And many of those markets have seen inventory levels rise to pre-pandemic levels back in, say, 2019. Not quite so in Frisco, but again, I'll get to that towards the end. So what does all of that mean? Well, what it means is what it always has mean is that ultimately real estate is very local. And no matter what you hear, what you read, what you see, most of that information is covering things from a national perspective. And that's not necessarily going to give you the information that you're looking for on a local level in the market that you're most interested in. So again, I'm going to cover that national information because it's important to know what's going on overall, and then we're going to dive into those specific real estate trends here in Frisco. So what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to share my screen and just go over a few slides, and we're going to go through what it is that we're looking at with regards to mortgage rates and then home prices, because as you know, the election's now behind us. We've got a little bit of certainty there. There's some uncertainty when it comes to what's going to happen economically. And many people have been surprised by the fact that mortgage rates haven't fallen further, considering the Federal Reserve has been cutting rates. So what does that mean as we go into 2025? Let's take a look and see what the experts say. All right, so the first side that we're looking at here is from Odetta Kushi. And Odetta is the deputy chief economist at First American. I think she sums it up really well. She said, if the Fed continues on their rate cutting cycle, we can expect mortgage rates to drift a little lower next year, and slightly lower rates will boost affordability, ease the rate lock-in effect for sellers, and hopefully unlock some existing home inventory. And I think she brings up a key point there. Slightly lower rates will boost affordability. If we look at what's going on specifically here in Frisco, new home sales have remained strong. And why is that? Well, the new home builders have attacked the mortgage rate problem. So they have been aggressively offering mortgage rate buy downs. They've been offering incentives to try and get that rate down, which has worked because it has kept sales moving quite well. Next up, we've got Lawrence Yun, who is the chief economist with the National Association of Realtors. And, as he says, going back to 4% mortgage rates. And he says, per my forecast, unfortunately, we will not. It's more likely that we'll go back to 6%. That will be the new normal, bouncing around between 5.5% and 6.5%. And I know there's many buyers that I've spoken to recently that have said, we're waiting. They're going back to 4%. And it's just hard to imagine right now with everything going on that we're going to get back there. But obviously, rates staying a little bit higher, yes, it's impacted home sales because I think without a doubt, 2024 has been the middle of winter for the real estate markets. Our home sales for the year are going to come in lower than they have in decades, to be honest with you. So there's really no place to go but up from here. And it does appear as though there are enough people buying and enough people coming back into the market that indicate that the reality of where rates are has kind of been accepted. At one time, they will drift down. They should drift down. They have been drifting down over the last 3 weeks. But again, if you're waiting for rates to get back into the fours, I think you're going to be waiting, a very long time. So where do the experts now believe rates are going to go in 2025? Well, this is the latest mortgage rate projection as of December 6th. So now all of a sudden you're looking, if we just average these out, you're looking at Fannie Mae, the Mortgage Bankers Association, and Wells Fargo. They're looking at 6 3/4 for the fourth quarter, which is very close to where we're at right now. In quarter one, 6.58%, drifting down to 6.32% by the third quarter next year. And then not much change as we go into quarter four next year as well, holding right around that 6.33%. Will it stay there? I honestly don't know. Mortgage rates are incredibly difficult to predict. In fact, we know that. Nobody has got them right this year. They were supposed to be in the mid fives by now if we look at the forecasts that were made close to a year ago now. So it does appear as though we're going to be in a higher rate environment for longer, which again, depending upon where you live, why new construction has been so popular, because the builders have been aggressively attacking that. That's not to say that a resale seller can't do the same thing. So you can ask for closing cost money in an offer to buy the mortgage rate down. That is actually going to work out more advantageous for you as a buyer than it would be to go in and potentially offer a lower price. As remember, a general rule of thumb here, that a 1% decline in the mortgage rate is equivalent to a 10% decline in the price of the home. And the chances of getting a seller to reduce the price 10% right now, a resale seller, is pretty slim. We're just not seeing it. A little bit different on new construction, especially if it's standing inventory and the builders are trying to make their numbers at year end. But I've got plenty of videos on what kind of deals are available on that. So make sure that you subscribe to this channel if you'd like to stay up to date on those type of opportunities. So with that in mind, what does it mean for home prices overall? Well, again, this is the latest home price forecast for 25, and it's looking at 16 different forecast models here, updated as of December 6th. The only one that's forecasting negative pricing is Moody's Analytics, and that's a revision that they made recently, and it's not much. It's down less than 0.5%. And then across the board, you have most of the forecasters expecting prices to rise between 3 and 4%. I would happen to agree with that based upon the information that I am seeing right now. And then when you average all of these together, you've got an average of 3.1% appreciation for 2025. And I'm also starting to see from a lot of the different entities that they're forecasting that that price appreciation will continue as we go into 2026. The bottom line with regards to pricing is the experts are now saying that we're going to end up back in a normal cycle. So what we experienced the past couple of years, especially coming out of COVID, and that rapid run up in pricing that we saw was anything but normal. Somewhere between 3 and 5% appreciation per year is historically normal. And that is what I keep hearing over and over again. On that is what we are going to see. And again, pricing always come back to, in its simplest format, it's what's the supply of homes available versus the demand of buyers wanting to buy. That right there, whether that's balanced or imbalanced, determines whether prices go up, hold steady, or in fact start to decline. And I'm going to show you that in a little bit more detail as we turn our attention now to the latest numbers here in Frisco. All right. What we're looking at first here is I flipped over to the local MLS, and this is the trends section of the MLS. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because it kind of shows you what has been happening and where we are right now. So what we're looking at here is just Frisco. So this is just your local Frisco market, and it's looking at where the median sales price is. So as you can see over here, right here at the end, we're at 732,944 November. Interesting thing is that showing that we are up 11.8% year over year. It's like, Andrew, wait a minute. Haven't you been saying pricing in Frisco is going to remain flat? Yeah, I have been saying that, but I think it's important to look at this. If we go back, right? So here's November of 2023. So you can see there's September and it dropped down. So we had a big drop in median sales price in November of 2023, whereas this year we had a big jump in median sales price in November of 2024. That's what's showing the 11.8%. But if we look at where we were in December of 2023, 736, that's roughly right where we are right now. So again, I'm expecting that based upon the latest numbers I've seen, that to hold steady when the December numbers come out in January. We may be up a couple of percent, we may be down a couple of percent, but I don't think we're going to see a big, deviation either way on there. So prices here in Frisco right now, the median sales price is holding. So why is that? And what does that mean? Well, let's go back to inventory. As I just mentioned, supply and demand is key. So I'm going to look right here at the number of homes for sale. Number of homes for sale in Frisco as of the end of November was 617. But here's what I want to do. I want to go back 5 years. Again, 2019. 2019 is key because it's the full year we had before the impact of the pandemic. So look at where inventory was in 2019. We reached a peak of 1,180 homes for sale, and this is just single family, by the way, in June of 2019. By the end, we were at 684 in December. So if you look here, our peak was 696 homes in July. So almost 50% lower, close to that of where we were in the middle of 2019. And now we're down to 617. So we right here are just above, or just below rather, where we were in December of 2019. So are we going to see a rebound? Are we going to get closer to normal inventory in 2025? If we do, that's more than likely going to mean that prices will be relatively stable here again. If those go up, home sales should go up, and you're also going to see that pricing should stay relatively flat, up a little bit if our supply picks up. If supply remains tight and we don't see the climb back to pre-pandemic levels, then we can probably expect a little bit more appreciation, especially if we start to see those mortgage rates settle just a little bit. Now, on here as well, I'm going to go back to the 3-year. I want to show one thing here for you, because a lot of people say, well, how are you forecasting where prices are going? How do you know where they're going to be? And the answer is we don't know exactly where they're going to be, but there's a couple of things that kind of give us clues. So right of November 2024, homes were selling for 96.3% of the original list price. Okay, so the percent of original list, so homes are only being discounted a little bit over 3.5% right now. So why is that important? Well, it's important because if we flip over here and we look at my current updated, this is my real-time market report. So if you'd like information, no matter what city in the country you live in, you can go right here. You can put your city or zip code right into this box right here, and you can get these stats for any city or zip code in the country. And what this is telling us, this right here is showing that the market's pretty flat. A reading here anywhere close to 30 shows that the market is fairly balanced. If it's above 30, it means prices are going to start drifting higher. If it's below 30, we're more inclined to see prices drifting lower. This is simply looking at the balance or the gauge between supply and demand. All your stats are right here on the right hand side, but if I scroll down, now we're looking at the median list price here in Frisco. And if I zoom in, kind of make this a little bit just to the last year, here's where we are currently. So we trended up in the last week just slightly, but you can see here that the 7-day average is 734,700. So again, this is list price. Now, if you take the list price that you have here, and then you already know from the graph I just showed you that homes are selling within 3.5% of list price, you can kind of get a rough idea on what homes are going to sell for. Remember, anything that goes under contract now is going to close sometime in January, late January, possibly even the very beginning of February. So that starts to give us an indication of where the closed sales prices are going to be in the next couple of months. So again, if you sign up for this report, you can go ahead, it's a link to it is in the description below, and you start watching this specific to your area. You can see which way prices are trending and have a good idea of where those prices might be going in the next couple of months, especially if there's a neighborhood or you're planning on buying or selling in. Now, a couple of other things about the Frisco market just to point out. As mentioned, we have really been saved by new construction. We've got a plethora of new construction here, as you know, and it's the thing that has really helped. If we didn't have the inventory of the new home builders, prices here would be absolutely soaring, which that's what's kept the lid on. But saying that, look at the Fields community. It's absolutely taken off. As a matter of fact, Toll Brothers, which only opened their models in September of 2023, are almost sold out. Huntington Homes are almost sold out. That community is selling extremely well. So it's not going to be that long before the original community there, Brookside South, is sold out completely. Right now, work has already begun on Brookside North, which is going to be exclusively built by Landon Homes. They're still starting to put up the models right now. Those homes will be selling here in the first quarter of 2025. And speaking of Landon Homes, the other area that they're building is Lexington in Frisco. And Lexington is going to have a big expansion coming up in the coming year. They've got more land available and they're going to be expanding what their product offering is there, and they're going to have more lots available in that community. If we go a little bit further to the east, the Grove. The Grove is currently in phase 10. It is the last homes to be built in the original section of the Grove. They're being finished out right now by Highland Homes and American Legend Homes. If you'd like information on those, please reach out. I have all of the details on those homes. And right now, the Grove North, as I'm calling it, or the expansion of the Grove to the north side of Main Street is now well underway. Highland Homes are going to be building some of their biggest homes on the largest lots they've had anywhere in the Grove. They're starting to pre-sell those now. You've also got American Legend, I believe, are also going to be building new homes there. Bloomfield Homes have just been announced as a builder over there. So that you're going to see construction there taking place over the next 2 to 3 years as well. So there's still a lot of building and a lot of new construction that's going to be available in the coming year here in Frisco. But if you're looking for one of those new construction homes and you're hoping to find it for $500,000, it's just unfortunately not going to happen. The pricing has moved past that. You're going to start looking mid sixes. It's probably the lowest price we can get you new construction in Frisco for right now, and it goes up from there. So hopefully you found this information into the local market helpful. Again, if you want the market statistics to be delivered to you each and every week, go ahead, click on the QR code that's up on your screen, or go ahead and see the link in the description, and you can sign up to receive those reports. And if you're considering buying or selling a home anywhere in Frisco or the immediate surrounding areas in the coming year, then I invite you to reach out. You can always book a free 30-minute consultation call with me. I'd be more than happy to talk to you, learn more about your specific plans, and help talk through what the latest market trends mean for you so that you can make the best decision for you and your family. Make sure you don't go anywhere, because I know you're going to enjoy one of these videos coming up next.